Thank you very much, Alan. And for those of you who I haven't met, I am your GLA member, and as Alan has said, a couple of years ago, I took a telephone call in my office, and it was a lady who was very, very upset. And the first thing she said to me was, "What are you doing about the state about the situation where black children are being killed or injured on our street at a really high level?" And I just said, "Well, is that so? How do you know this?" And she said, "Well, like a number of black mothers, she finds herself called out of work. She finds herself having to go to the hospital because her child had been involved in a road traffic accident. And in the course of conversations that she'd had in her church, she found that there was, like, so many people in that situation. And of course, tragically, many of them had lost their children who had been killed on the road. And I firstly apologise, because I didn't know anything about it. Because it's true to say that we absolutely, as Alan has said, we knew that there was an issue. We knew that it was unacceptable in terms of the levels of casualties on our street. But what had happened was we were actually looking at, if you like, just stats in terms of the large numbers. And what we hadn't done was actually looked at the black and minority ethnic figures. And then when we started to do that, we actually then saw, if you like, a great disproportionality, and in some places as high as 2 to 1. I've just got some notes here I thought I'd share with you that it was an accident that occurred with an automobile, as cars were called then, in 1896, that kick-started this whole area of work. And the people involved in the motor carriage, as they described it, said, when they described what had happened, was they described that the pedestrian had been struck by this vehicle, and that this vehicle was going at a reckless pace. The vehicle was travelling at 4 miles per hour. So that's where we started, where a vehicle travelling at 4 miles an hour was deemed to be reckless. Well, what would we call them now if we hadn't actually introduced the 25 miles per hour schemes, and when people are absolutely careering round our streets thinking 60 is nothing, and in some instances, if you give them a bit of straight road, putting the foot right down and then disappearing. So that's where we started from, reckless driving at 4 miles per hour. And indeed, the driver was taken to task because he'd actually modified his engine and had moved it from the 4 miles per hour as registered to 4.5. Now, the serious point was the jury returned a verdict of accidental death. So that was the first recording of an accidental death because of an automobile accident, and that was in 1896. So we've been on a long road, and as our populations have changed, as our streets have changed, then it's reasonable that we find new ways of working. I want now to just really say that the work that is there, if you want any more information about the research that we've carried out, it's really interesting research, and I would endorse it, because, you know, I wouldn't want you to go away and think, oh well, we can just do traffic calming. As I said before, it isn't just one action that can be taken. I wouldn't want you to go away and think, oh well, it's parents, they shouldn't allow their children on the street, so what we've got to do is make parents do more. I wouldn't want you to go away with that. What I would want you to go away with is this idea that we need an integrated approach, that TfL has responsibility, and we know that they're committed to fulfilling that responsibility. I think Alan Lang here this morning with us as the cabinet member for this area absolutely demonstrates the council's commitment to this. We've got senior staff in charge of teams who are out there working, and you from many parts of the borough working in your community-based partnership. That's what we need. We need to stay together with this, because we're not going to fix it overnight. We may well see the figures come down and then they'll rise again. But I don't think that's something that we should get disheartened about. What we then should just do is actually go to that point, go to that incident, go to that area and find out what's not working there. So it is a continuous journey that we're on. As I said to you, let's link ourselves with that first accident, and that first accident produced transport acts going all the way back. Don't forget our roads became regularised with the highway codes. All of these things people have argued for. So, you know, you have an incident, we see something that's wrong, we identify what's wrong. If it needs legislation, we go to legislation. This doesn't need legislation. It needs the will and the commitment of us all to work together.